America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everyone this evening. First item on the agenda is public comment. There is none registered in advance. Is there anyone that would have anything for public comment at this time? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the nuisance update. Who would like to go first?
The officers are still out working and writing notices to property owners, and we're looking forward to July 18th is when we're going to court with most of these that have been on hold. I think I looked earlier this week, there was about 16 pending court cases for July 18th alone. So we're hoping to get some of those through. I did talk to the city attorney, Megan Rosenberg, about seeing those through on the 18th. So I think we're on the way to get that done. The cases Taylor Niederhoff has been working on, he's been working through. We got 3 orders through his office today. And then Doug and I met with a couple property owners last week in reference to their properties. So hoping to keep moving forward.
Okay, any questions from council?
Are they burning a house tonight?
Yes, they just went there. It should be starting here within the next 15 minutes. That's 715 First Street Northeast.
Thank you.
Yes.
Pat, did you have a question?
Yeah. Any calls in about fireworks?
Yeah, I looked today. Over the last week, there was 8 calls for fireworks. Of those, I kind of sorted through them to see what was what. Most of them were calls such as, hey, there's fireworks, it's somewhere coming from the south of me, which those are kind of hard to track down. They did keep in the area. The calls mainly, well, all of them were on the 4th and the 5th. So right before or after the fireworks was a busy time, but that's also a busy time for the officers. During traffic control, other calls, they try to get to them. It's kind of a odd beast because, you know, they're not always out there shooting them off when we're standing there.
Mm-hmm.
So like one of the officers went to one call, the person called in, but the kid ran into the house as soon as he let it off. The officer didn't see it, but the neighbor did. So you knock on the door, no, it wasn't me. Party of 15, nope, that guy. So I did research some fireworks ordinances of other communities today. So maybe we can look at something different. Mason City. One thing with Mason City, they allow it 6 to 11 on 2 days. I think there's a 3rd and the 4th. But then they have an ordinance that basically says that the property owner can be charged. So that's something we can look at. I've been kind of looking at other communities too.
Boy, I had I posted something about fireworks on my Facebook page. I had I had first of all, about 15 people ought to be city council persons. About another 20 who ought to be police chief. So you can knock those out right away. Then you had property owners, that when I suggested to tag the property owner, they didn't like that because they were landlords.
Right.
Well, I said, well, you're responsible. I mean, if the grass doesn't get mowed, eventually you're going to be the one that's on the hook for it.
In Mason Cities, the ordinance I saw says tenant if it is a landlord situation, but yeah.
Okay. All right, well,
That
anyway,
makes
it
me
just
feel a little bit
was
better.
a good discussion, and I got my share. I turned a couple in, and it doesn't bother me, but that's just me. But what bothers me is we have the rule that says none are allowed. And if we had the rule that said, yeah, they're allowed, and you pay a $50 fee, or a license fee, or a registration fee, the people who are going to shoot them off anywhere are going to shoot them off anywhere. They're not going to buy a license for it.
No.
So you're pushing a rock uphill there.
Yeah. And a lot of times we get the excuse, well, they're selling them in town. That's confusing to us. But I mean, we're going on year 3, 4.
Yeah. I mean, I said, well, they sold them in Missouri. How did we ever hear a firework in Hampton when they sold them in Missouri?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they don't like that either. But
We sell ammunition at the hardware store. We can't shoot a gun in town. So
right.
same concept.
Yeah. So anyway, it's very frustrating because I know a number of dog owners who just have fits with their dogs. I know a number of people who have PTSD and some veterans who don't appreciate it. But it's tough. It's a no-win deal.
Yeah, and we've been really trying to educate the community leading up to this, to drive those numbers down. We've been working with the fireworks stand here the best we can. I think they did a pretty good job of doing what they could, but again, the people that
Right.
are ignoring them just as.
Yeah, I mean, I went out to the fireworks, out to the fairgrounds, and the fairgrounds was like a war zone. And they shot the fireworks off across the road, but before the fireworks went off across the road, everybody was having their way with the fireworks on the grounds. What I feel bad is little kids running around. I would hate to have one thrown and hit a little kid or something like that. That'd be tough.
So for next year, I have some ideas. We can look at extra officers, because typically we have one officer working up until 8 o'clock, and
Right.
then we have two from 8 o'clock till 7 in the morning.
Yeah, and that's what I told him. I said, if we had 3 officers on it, one's up by Casey's, and one's up by the high school, and one's got a traffic stop, then what do you do? I said, it just,
And the majority of them are going off around the 4th event, and, they're doing traffic control in and out of there, trying to get people out of the fairgrounds and the fairgrounds, keep
Yeah.
everybody safe, so.
Okay.
I think in my area of town, the fireworks, number one, the fireworks don't bother me any. But I realize what the law is, but in my area, I think they were mostly coming from the zoo. And I wouldn't expect an officer to be running out in them cornfields or bean fields trying to catch somebody. You'd have to surround the whole zoo to figure out who's ever lighting them off, and they quit about 11 o'clock at night for the most part. But I realize it's against the law, but some things to me illegal is a sick bird too. So whatever.
So we have some things we're gonna work on for next year, hopefully to drive those numbers down even further.
I have a question for you, Mark. Like, what would you charge somebody with? Or, I mean,
There's a specific code section in the city of Hampton.
okay, and then like,
For firing.
and then how much, I mean, is there a fine associated
Yes.
with that? Do they go to
No, they
go
don't, it's
to
just
the
like
magistrate or
just like a
anything?
speeding ticket. You just write it
Okay.
out just like a speeding ticket. And I'm not sure what the fine is. I think it was $250, but, yeah, they just pay it at the clerk of court like any other citation.
So if you didn't,
It's a simple misdemeanor, yes.
if you did not actually see somebody do it, but let's say a neighbor specifically saw the fireworks go off,
And they know
like
the
in that
exact person?
backyard,
Yes,
I
we could
mean-
write a citation. If most of the complaints, again, I bet a third of the complaints are anonymous. We can't do anything with those. So we can go to the area, we can look and see for ourselves. If we see them, we can write the citation. If you see your neighbor and you know which one it is, light the firework, yes, we could write a citation off of your
and you said
complaint.
it could be then, what, a $250 fine?
Yeah, I'd have to look and see what our fine schedule is. I've
Okay.
seen so many today that I
Would
was
you let me
researching,
know?
and all of
Because
them are
I want to
250.
talk with somebody about that.
Yeah,
Anyway,
so
off the
I'll let
record.
you know for sure.
Oops, we're on record, aren't we? But anyway, okay.
I'll email you tomorrow.
Yeah, no rush. Okay, anything else for Mark? Otherwise, I think someone else is just dying to get behind the microphone. Good.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I really don't have much to add. It's Fair Week, and Fair Week, prior to Fair Week, is a lot of work getting things ready for Fair Week. So July 18th, I got a few court cases coming up as well on the same day. So I think we have things pretty full for the new magistrate, and that'll be interesting. And I'm looking forward to that. And I know this is a nuisance update, but I'll just hit on it. We've got a lot of storm damage that we're working on. There's a lot of dangerous trees and a few other odds and ends that have also bitten us and taken time away from other things. So other than that, I think I'm just going to open up to any questions or concerns y'all may have.
Any questions? Guess not.
All
Thank
right.
you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the Image of Pride for July. And normally we present this at a regular meeting, but to accommodate our awesome winner, this month. We're going to be doing it here at the workshop. So we'll just reach a consensus on that, and we would actually then vote on that officially at our Thursday meeting. But I have the month of July, and you can see here, as I wrote, I'd like to welcome Brian Tolstead and Laura Piper. And I know, Brian, if you have an acceptance speech or something you indicated to me that you would want to say. But they're at 317, 317 North Federal. And like it says there, the front is immaculate, but the back is simply amazing.
Yeah.
But
Laura's where it's not mine. But no, I just wanted to say thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for nominating me, Jim. And I have to thank Laura, of course. Without Laura, I wouldn't be here. The love of my life. I moved down here from the Twin Cities in 2020, so first-time home buyer. And we got really lucky finding this diamond. We've gotten to know Margaret a little bit, the previous owner, and we could tell right away that it was, a lot of love in the house. They had owned it. I think it was in their family since it was built. So got really lucky, moving down from the Twin Cities. I didn't get to see it firsthand till the weekend I came down and put an offer on it. But Laura had went and did the FaceTime walkthrough with the realtor, and we kind of fell in love with it right away. And just real special house with the animals, and we've got the birds. We've become birders since moving here. But with that, how can you not? There's so many different kinds of birds, and we've got an owl family that Laura, first day Laura went to look at the house, an owl flew right above her car, and we believe it's the same owl family that lives somewhere along the creek, but we named them Pops after my dad, so I think Dad would be looking down pretty proud of me. So just want to say thank you very much. I think this is awesome. I was totally caught off guard. Laura nominated me, and I didn't even know it. And then Jim texted me and let me know that he chose me. So I was a little caught off guard. I didn't really know what was going on. But that made it even more special. So I want to thank everybody for the award, and
but thank you very much, because I know when I went over there too, it is just amazing. And
Yeah.
I wish if everyone else had 10% of your enthusiasm and the time and
Well,
care
thank
you
you.
take with your yard, we would not have any nuisance
Wow.
issues at all.
I really appreciate that, but for me too, it's I know there's a lot of other people that they have as much pride, but they may not have the time or the expendable money or even the physical ability to go out and do lawn care as often as they'd like to. So, but that doesn't mean I don't appreciate it, and it's a labor of love. As a first-time home buyer, even shoveling snow, I'm cool with that. I lived in an apartment for 15 years prior, one-bedroom apartment.
Well, if you
prior
want
to
more
moving
snow,
here,
if you want more snow to shovel,
yeah, no,
give my address.
no.
It's not
I
that
don't
far
mind
from
mowing a
here.
yard.
Okay.
That's all right with me. But
Well, we'd like to have you. Why don't you come on up, and I think Jen's
Cool.
going to take a
Oh,
picture.
can I give a shout out to my brother?
What's that?
Can I give a shout out to my
Yeah,
brother?
sure, go ahead.
Is that the camera right there?
Yeah.
Love you, brother.
Here, we'll take why don't we take the picture? I wonder if we could, would it show to have the picture in the background? You mean photographer? Okay, we'll go patriotic. It is the 4th of July. That's true.
I don't have to take my hat off, though, do I? No.
You can do whatever you want.
I don't want to
It's your-
disrespect the flag, though. Is that?
You're
I
fine.
don't want to be. Are you sure?
I think you know.
You're fine.
Okay.
All right,
I would
ready?
hate to.
Perfect. Oh, good. Great.
All right.
Well, thank you very much.
All right, well, thank you very much. Okay, for the next item on the agenda, I'm going to move up Susie, the library director report, prior to our discussion of the Image of Pride. So, welcome.
Thank you, thank you. I'd first like to thank Ron and Becky and Kelsey for making the transition very easy, answering my questions, which I had some, so, thank you very much. And also to Doug, who is working with me on some minor building issues. And now Mark Morrison, I need to chat with him tomorrow. So yes, things are moving very well. So a couple things about our summer reading program. So we had over 200 children sign up for our summer reading program, so that's very good numbers again. Our library is a site for the summer lunch program on Tuesdays, also going very well. That is running through July. And then First Security donated the proceeds from Tuesdays on the Town to the library, and that's about $1,000, so, we thank them for that. And then I just kind of wanted you guys to be aware with the change in the fiscal year that we are trying to be very proactive with the loss of the levy. So we have already implemented a few things to kind of soften the blow. We did reduce a part-time person from 32 hours to 10 hours a week. As of right now, I don't know how that's going to work. That's a big cut for a building that we have to have 2 people 6 days a week, one evening and, Saturdays till 3. For now, it's working, but I may have to increase those hours a little bit because we still have vacation, we still have sick leave, that kind of thing. So another thing we did was we went ahead, the library board, if a holiday falls on a Friday or a Monday, we will be closed that Saturday. So for instance, Memorial Weekend was the first Saturday. So we were closed Saturday because the holiday was on a Monday. That actually, right out of the gate, gives us $1,000 in part-time wages as a savings. So those 2 things, they're not much in the scheme of things, but we're trying to kind of soften the blow. Because if the levy is not reinstated for libraries, then we know it's coming. We have to be proactive here. Otherwise, it's not going to be good. And then the other thing the library board discussed was, unfortunately, hours, a change in the hours of operation. Nothing was acted on for this year, but it is on the table moving to the next fiscal year. Unfortunately, unfortunately, the easiest way sometimes to save money is to reduce staff. If we keep reducing staff, we have to reduce hours we're open because the 2 eventually, it's not going to work. One usually affects the other. So anyway, when fall gets here in winter, I'll be, of course, talking to Ron when we know there's a lot of unknowns, like how much the levy will drop next year. But we do know it's 2029, isn't that the date, pretty much? Yeah. So anyway, those are just some, things I kind of wanted to clue you in as we start in on the fiscal year. But other than that, it's, our numbers are still up. I'll start the annual report, circulations up, there's a lot of positives. Our goal really is to be fiscally responsible, but at the same time offer as many services, as we can to the public. We have to find a balance, that's kind of our goal, so. That's kind of all I had, so if anybody's got any questions, yes?
Yeah. Have you, or somebody from your staff, I assume would be you, talked to the Board of Supervisors or any of their members to say, hey, if this was a one-off year for the cut, or is this going to be consistent from here on out?
Well, I met with the county directors of the libraries, the 6 libraries involved. We will meet in October to discuss the percentage change, if there is one, and then we will present to the supervisors. But we first 6 get together, though, and we're gonna, I will officially ask, for a revision to the formula, because that cut alone was 34,000.
Right.
Added to the levy loss of 30, so that's 64,000. you know, I mean, graciously, the city has given us the 30 for another year. But we know if legislature doesn't get changed, that, you know,
Right.
that's gone. So yes, I mean, that is,
plan.
yes, I think we present in December to the supervisors, so.
Okay.
Okay, other questions? Barry?
If you cut your hours, will that affect the accreditation?
So the accreditation is we have to be open a minimum of 29 hours a week. Of the 29 hours, we have to be open one evening till 6. And then we have to be open Saturdays, but there is no set time, like how long.
What do you gain by having an accreditation? Is that,
You know, that's a very good question, and that is one that I have reached out, to the state library. We get what's called, in fact, I'm doing the annual reports now. There's a direct aid that we get, and I don't know if that depends on our tier level, because we will lose a tier level if we don't satisfy, you know, the size of our library, the size of our town, the hours we're open. So those are some questions. I don't really know if we'll lose direct aid. I guess moving forward here with my job, I'm eventually gonna find that out.
well, they have to know something with the cuts and the levies and stuff.
Right, yeah, I mean, you would think. And, you know, when the board discussed it, we will still always offer Saturdays. But will we only do till noon versus till 3? Because there's where the savings start. You know, we're still offering it. You would just, you know, have to hustle in there before noon as opposed to 3.
If you have someone outside using the internet, but they don't go into the building, are they counted as a client or?
Yes, yeah, yep. We
So
have a
if they're-
software program that tracks that.
Okay,
So we get the count for that usage, yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate all your good work and
Yeah.
staff at the library too. It's
Yes,
wonderful.
Thank you. Oh, I should add, Esmeralda Ramirez has been at the library 10 years. So when I was appointed the director, she was appointed full-time. We no longer have an assistant director, which is what my old title was. But she's the main cataloger, and she now is 40 hours a week. It's her old position of 32 hours a week that we cut to 10. So yeah, I mean, good news is we've got Esmeralda for a few more hours a week. But, you know, I don't know if 32 to 10, if that's going to be, it's going to work. You know, time will tell. Anytime you mess with hours, you know, of staff, and we do like to have 2 people always in the building. For safety reasons, we are a 2-level building. So we try to always have 2 people. And we do have to have 2 people there 6 days a week. You know, Wednesdays are open until 7, so that can be a split shift for somebody, or some people come in late, or, you know. So, yeah, well, thank
I
you
guess
very much.
you never know until you try.
No, and
And
no,
if you
this is
find you
right.
need to make an adjustment, you know,
Right.
you make an adjustment, so.
Right, and you know, you always have to, you know, staff emergencies, that kind of thing, you know, we always like to be able to have, you know, that somebody who can come in on short notice, so.
I've got another question.
Sure, go ahead.
Has the foundation offered to help?
Yeah, so
Little
I met
more?
with, I met with the foundation in May. They are, definitely agreed to increase. I asked for a $5,000 increase for them. The city, you guys gave us $5,000. So now instead of the $34,000 lost from the county, we're still $24,000. So it helps, you know, that definitely helps. And the foundation, you know, they're very, very willing to give us more money if we need it.
Thank you.
And next year, we will be asking, you know, I already kind of know that. We'll be asking the foundation for more money too next year, so. Okay, all right, well, thank you.
Thanks again. Okay, we'll go to item 5, that's on the agenda. We will continue our discussion on the Image of Pride Award structure. And Ron, did you have like any
Yeah.
opening, I guess, comments for that?
So I gave you all kind of a worksheet of some things we're gonna, a list of things to go down. This is from our prior discussion. This is where most of this stemmed from. So the first thing would be, who would be eligible recipients? We talked about which properties, residential, rental properties, commercial, industrial, other. The original intent was for residential. The next is criteria considered to be eligible. Any nice, well-maintained property or a property that's been transformed from a blighted property to a non-blighted, or there's a third option, or any other property. The original intent was for a transformed property to receive priority over non-transformed. Just priority. It doesn't mean you can't, you appoint one. It's just, it was a priority. Frequency of the award, it's currently monthly from May through October. This was the original setup. It's been talked about at the last workshop, maybe go through January through December, the entire year. Some of the concerns that Brun brought up are potential to dilute the significance or the meaning if we give away too frequently the award. Potential difficulties with sign placement in the winter. And then I think Jim brought up maybe an end-of-the-month group recognition. If you have more that you feel like you want to recognize, you could maybe do kind of a honorable mention or something like that. I don't know. Who picks the recipients? Elected officials, citizens, staff, other. The original intent was for elected officials with public nominations encouraged. A location of property being awarded, elected officials pick from any property in Hampton regardless of the award was the original intent. I think a lot of times ward representatives will pick someone in their ward, which is okay. It's just that I don't think you have to stick within your ward, but it's your choice. And then the last thing, there has been in the past donations for chamber bucks that are always encouraged. We don't always have them, but I've also made a contact recently on having that start up again. So we'll start at the top if that's okay. Mayor,
Sure.
do you want to take it
Sure.
from there?
Okay. Okay, the first item there, eligible recipients. Council, your thoughts? Yes, Jerry?
I'd like to see it open to all. An image of pride should go across the board, not just residential, but the businesses in the industrial area.
I agree with that.
I agree.
I think we ought to leave it as is residential.
Do you have any
I think
thoughts,
it's
Kevin?
nice for businesses too, because, there might be something that's not, been sitting there for a long time, and somebody comes in and fixes it up and opens a business for the people in the community, and I think it would be nice to recognize them too, so.
Or paints a mural on the side of the building.
That's
I think we're gonna ruin it when we start giving everybody a participation award.
Any other
I don't
thoughts?
understand what you mean.
It should be to the small group residential instead of opening it
But
up.
don't you think pride is citywide? I mean, we want to
There
be
should
proud
be
of our
more-
downtown area. We want to
More
be proud of.
emphasis on the homeowner. It's coming out of his pocket to take care of it.
It does the business owner too. And I'm not pushing for an Image of Pride award. I'm just saying, we want to maintain our downtown, inspire the businesses to take care of the buildings, maintain them, keep them up, looking good, spray the weeds, pick up the garbage. And in the industrial area too, it's nice to go out there and look at the businesses out there. Are they well-maintained? Some of them are not so much. So I just think it's citywide that we would want to be proud of our city in all aspects, in every areas.
I agree totally with what you're saying.
Jim, your thoughts?
Well, I was thinking if we talked about who's going to be picking the award, it could very well be up to the person, like if it is an elected official. And like I said, Barry, if you would prefer to give it to a residential, you would give it to who you would want. And Jerry, if you saw like a specific business or industry that you thought was above and beyond your expectations, then you could select that. So I guess for me, I don't have a problem including everybody in on it. So,
All right.
Okay, should we move
Some
on?
of the, some of the.
Go ahead.
Some of this, commercial and industrial and rental properties, people are getting money to fix them up. The homeowner doesn't get any money to fix his up. It's coming out of his pocket. So I think
Some,
that's why
But
the homeowner
it's
should be
also not just
emphasized.
given to them. They have to do the work of finding grants and applying for grants, and that takes many, many hours. And frankly, I've applied for several and haven't gotten any. So, you know, it's not a given that every business and industry is getting free money to maintain their property or to keep up their property or to fix up their property. It isn't a given that that happens.
I'm just saying, I want to stay with the original intent.
Okay,
Well,
I think we could, I'm sorry, Bill.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I just think like your suggestion, I think that could satisfy both of us.
Exactly.
You could stick to residential if you wanted to. If you saw a
Exactly.
business that was doing a great job, nominate them.
Exactly.
Okay, we ready to move on?
Yeah.
Next item, the criteria considered to be eligible. Like if
Well,
it's-
again there.
Yeah, that, we've already,
I think that should be everybody too.
Yeah.
A well-maintained property is an ongoing effort, and that goes for residential. It is a money investment. It's an ongoing effort. It isn't just a property that maybe somebody bought a house and flipped it, and yay, they get this big, Image of Pride award. Because a lot of times that's an investment thing for people. So I do think it should be for everybody. They
Any
kept
other
up their
thoughts?
work, and it's kudos for doing the good job, or somebody invested in a property and fixed it up, and yay for that too.
Any other thoughts on that? I mean, I would agree with that. Okay, let's move on. Frequency.
I would like to see January through December because, like I said, I don't think that we've had like a Christmas light
yeah.
award given out in a number of years. There's people who seem to really take a lot of pride in Christmas lights and doll their house up, and that puts a little effort into a home. And I'm not so worried about whether we can stick a sign in the yard or not. This last winter we could stick a sign in the yard. It never did freeze, I don't think. So I'm not worried about signs going in yards. They can always lean it up against the house or do whatever they wanted to do. But I think that it should be monthly, January to December. I don't really, if we just rotate the thing through again and we each pick twice a year and we're done. And again, we have nominations that come in and go from there. But I really think that we could feature some cool houses during November and December with holiday lighting. I mean, even October. You got some people that go all out for Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And that's cool too. So, or Easter. I saw these inflatable Easter bunnies and everything else around town this last year too. So, anyway, that's my take on it.
I'd agree with that.
Well, Pat mentioned, that we picked twice, but I really liked the idea that we talked about at the last meeting, okay? We each get our month. Let the city employees pick 3. You guys are out there, you see all the properties, you know who's made that big transformation or who does maintain their property really well. And then the other 3, let's take citizen nominations. Because I know citizens turn in nominations, but we don't always see them. And, I mean, you turn in a nomination for somebody, your neighbor, and you're really excited about it, and nobody pays attention to it. That's kind of a bummer.
Well, I did this last time. They were thrilled. The neighbors and the people getting it and everybody else was just thrilled. So, yeah, I'll go with that. That's fine.
We're talking about who picks the recipient, is that what you're saying? Well, Becky was kind enough to give me some pictures that have apparently been brought into here. Is that right? Becky, citizens had brought pictures in or something? Okay. Well, whomever, I'm probably gonna use one of them, to be honest with you. I would like to see it, I guess, with the as you said, elected officials, and then maybe, out into the public, I think that would be a good idea. And quite honestly, not going in, well, go ahead.
We did skip over the monthly thing. We haven't decided the monthly thing.
Well, I thought we decided every month.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, I mean, I'm fine with, we're bouncing around a little bit. It's not getting out of control, so.
Yeah.
Well, and I do, I appreciate the start of this and what it was intended for originally, but there's nothing wrong with building on that and growing it. So it's not like, my thought is, let's get rid of this and build our own. My thought is, let's build on this. This is a cool thing. People appreciate it. Look how excited Brian was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he really was.
Yeah.
I like the idea of engaging the community more and getting them to like buy into the program more and seeing what the results can be when you nominate someone.
I wonder if we expand this, when it will be saturated. I've had 3 or 4 choices and people didn't want to be chosen. They didn't want recognition. And then I've had 3 or 4 that I picked. They already got it. So you keep piling those up. When's somebody gonna get a double award?
Well, we've had that.
Yeah, I nominated Dave Huberger. Dave and Carolyn had been nominated, and then Carolyn's passed, and then Dave
And,
sort of,
and I do agree with what Barry said. I have picked several ones that don't want it. I don't know if they think everybody will see their place and then their taxes will go up, or just exactly what their real reason was. But I agree with what Barry said there.
yeah, Barry.
I just stuck to my ward, so that's the results I've got.
Well, mathematically, we have what? How many houses in Hampton?
1,800?
1,800? And we only do 12 awards a year? That's going to take a long time to get saturated.
But it could happen. Years ago, when we had the community betterment program in town, they gave a best kept yard award. And that, I don't know how many years that went, but that sort of fell by the wayside, I think, because of that. I mean, maybe it needed to evolve a little bit and change, but it just sort of discontinued. The group, I think, ended up discontinuing in the ward too, but I think it was also sometimes difficult, like to come up with somebody to give that award. But so what you said, Barry, could very well happen. But does that mean we don't do it regardless? So
Beverly gave me the name last year of a couple, their home, and I went to it, and they did not want it. They wouldn't exactly tell me. I went there twice, and they did not want it at all.
yeah, some people just don't want the recognition. I mean, and that's their
okay.
prerogative. That's their
Yeah,
prerogative.
Okay.
Okay, so where are we at?
Well, we're gonna go 12 months a year, is that right? I think so.
Guess that's
like
sort
you
of what
say,
we're
Christmas
leaning towards.
Decorations and,
I know at one time too, the chamber, years ago, they used to do like the Christmas lighting.
Yeah.
Because I remember one of the years I was on the 3-person committee that drove around town and you picked out the best decorations, and that was a lot of fun.
I think something like this could even inspire a competition.
And maybe that's what we would do in December.
Maybe.
We would,
Maybe we'll see
or
even more
like
lights.
Halloween, do that same type of thing.
well, I bet the Christmas decorations could inspire, some competition.
Maybe Christmas in July, so,
There you
hey,
go.
shoot off some fireworks. Hey, Mark, okay. Okay, so where else are we at? Like, who picks the recipients? I mean, we had talked about that a little bit. Is there a consensus on that? Like, I mean, I think your idea, Jerry, was good.
Yeah, I go with Jerry's idea.
That wasn't my idea.
Yeah,
Or
Shot that
Bill's?
idea out last time, but I thought it was great.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, was the location of the property being awarded? Is that, what do we have? Elected officials pick any property in Hampton regardless of the ward. I guess that sort of, I mean, would be the
See,
case.
that's where I was misled with this. I had a month, Ward 4, oh, I gotta pick from my ward.
Well, you know, I have always been confused, as long as I've been on the city council, and I don't know exactly how long it's been, I have always, until right this moment, been confused. I thought it always had to come from my ward too, also, but apparently that is not true even in the beginning.
I think that's just sort of how it ended up, like, well, Pat and I are both at large, so we pretty much had the whole town.
Yeah.
So,
And-
Well, I think it should be, I think I should be able to go anywhere. Not that I'm at large, but, I don't know.
yeah, I
I
mean,
think the message, if you pick somebody from your own ward, that connects with your ward. But also, I thought that's what I had to do.
Well, that's the way I was.
If we're gonna throw businesses and industry into the mix, then we should be able
Yeah.
to.
yeah. And maybe it's just one of those things, if you feel you want to stay within your ward, that's
Yeah, you can
absolutely
do
fine.
that.
And if you happen to know a property that happens to be across the street in another ward that you drive by every day, and you want to honor that
Yeah.
property owner, then sure, why not? I don't think we have an ordinance that specifically states that we have to do something along those lines. Is
There's
that
no
true?
ordinance related to this.
That's right, so I guess
No.
we're safe, unless we want to pass something, so, anyway. All right, like anything, any thoughts like the chamber bucks, like giving some kind of a monetary reward along with the certificate and the signage in the
Well,
yard?
in the past, we've had local businesses donate, and I think we need to continue that because we can't really use public funds for
Right.
for this. So, and I've reached out to the bank who has in the past been generous and see if they want to continue or if they're looking to do other things. And if anybody else wants to reach out to businesses if they want to take a turn, so.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know nothing about that.
I didn't either,
I could do that.
be honest with you.
Yeah, well,
Good thing we're having a discussion today.
yeah. You can ask anybody to donate.
Okay.
I just think ultimately, it's doing something positive, positive reinforcement, and putting the word out there, just like today, I think, with Brian and Laura, the enthusiasm they had when they first found out about it, and I just think it just sets a good example then for everyone else that maybe they can aspire for that too. So any other discussion then for Image of Pride? Ron, does this give you sort of a
Yeah.
general direction?
We'll
A little hone it in a little better?
maybe revise the brochure and to try and, implement some of these things into the brochure and then bring it back and just have you take a look at it before we implement anything.
I mean, that sounds good. Is that okay with council?
Yep.
So, okay, very good. Okay, I think we have one other item on the agenda, the Chapter 56 revision draft review.
So, Chapter 56 is dangerous and vicious animals, and more specifically, we're trying to, Mark and I have been working to come up with a revised 56.05, which is seizure and impoundment and disposition of vicious animals. I gave you a copy of the current 56.05, it says current at the top, and then the other page is draft revision 56.05. And so in the current one, what we see in I think it's the second paragraph, the first paragraph, the second sentence, a hearing on the matter shall be conducted by the council. So there was no discretion on the part of the police chief. Anytime he or she would declare a dog as vicious, it was coming to the council for a hearing. A lot of times the dog owner doesn't even want an appeal. They don't want a hearing. But we have to because of the word shall. So we're recommending that we remove the word shall and tweak that first paragraph. And so it would give the discretion to the animal control officer, which is the police chief. In that revised one, you see number 1, the animal control officer or designee in his or her discretion or upon receipt of a complaint alleging that a particular animal is vicious animal may initiate an investigation to declare such animal as vicious animal as defined under 55.01, paragraph 8, which is the definition of a vicious animal, which we're not proposing to change because I think that works. If the animal is declared vicious, the animal control officer shall serve notice to the animal owner, ordering them to remove said vicious animal from the city or cause it to be destroyed in a humane manner. The notice shall inform said owner of his or her right to appeal. Then the next paragraph talks about the declaration and order to remove vicious animal issued by the animal control officer may be appealed to the council. To appeal such an order, a written notice of appeal must be filed by the owner of the dog to the clerk within 3 days after receipt of the order contained in the notice to remove the vicious animal. Failure to file such a written notice of appeal shall constitute a waiver of the right to appeal the order of the animal control officer. Paragraph 3, the notice of appeal shall state the grounds for such appeal and shall be delivered personally or by certified mail to the clerk. The council hearing of such appeal may be scheduled within 14 days of receipt of the notice of appeal. After such appeal hearing, the council may affirm or reverse the order of the animal control officer. Such determination shall be contained in a written decision and shall be filed with the clerk within 3 days after the hearing. Number 4, if the council affirms the action of the animal control officer, the council shall order its written decision that the person owning, sheltering, harboring, or keeping such vicious animal remove such animal from the city or destroy it. The decision and order shall immediately be served upon the person against whom rendered in the same manner as the notice of removal. If the original order of the animal control officer is not appealed and is not complied with within 3 days of its issuance, the animal control officer is authorized to seize and impound such vicious animal. Any animal so seized shall be impounded for a period of 7 days at the owner's expense. If at the end of the impoundment period, the city shall cause the animal to be disposed of in a humane manner at the owner's expense. Failure to comply with an order of the city issued pursuant hereto constitutes a misdemeanor. I got a typo in that last sentence, or the second to last sentence. So basically, giving more discretion to the animal control officer, not bringing every single one of them in front of the council. That's, the crux of this change. But it also, in a vicious declaration to the owner, they're gonna know, because Mark will have to have it in the letter, that you have a right to appeal. So they'll know they can appeal, and if they want to appeal, they can come before the council.
I just had one question, and it's the same under current, like when you say like 3 business, is it 3 business days or 3 calendar days?
Well, I would say 3 business.
Okay. I mean, I
we
don't
can-
know if you
I can
necessarily
add
have to
that.
say it, but I was just, and like same with 7 or 14, whatever. I
Yeah.
just didn't know.
Yeah, I can
if
add
that-
business.
Because if it were a long holiday weekend, then you would get caught. You wouldn't have, the city hall wouldn't be open,
Correct.
perhaps. But
Yeah, I can change that.
any other thoughts, comments from council? Barry?
Yeah, our last claims, our pound fee was $1,800. Is that due to some of the vicious animal we had before that, or is that stray dogs, or?
It's usually stray dogs and stray cats. Right now, they have stopped. We've been going back and forth with them.
Can you come up to the podium, please? Thank you.
So we just recently got a letter from the vet center because of the sheer number of animals we've been taking out there. And a lot of them are going abandoned, and so no owners are picking them up. So they've been holding onto those dogs for quite some time. So we've come back to the fact that our ordinance says that we hold them for 7 days and then they'll be humanely euthanized. So anytime they keep those dogs past the 7 days, we're saying that's their responsibility, even though we brought the dog out there, because they try to home a lot of them, and that's not always feasible for us. But
So,
then stray cats have become a problem, and we used to trap them a lot. They don't allow us to bring those cats out there anymore, and we're allowed 6 at a time. So if we have 3 dogs, we can bring 3 stray cats. But now we've run into that issue too. But the cat population, I can tell you, has increased quite a bit.
when you have to take a dog, let's say from a vicious dog, how do you handle it? I mean,
We-
personally, like the PD itself,
If
do you have a thing?
Oh, yeah, we have, I can't,
Stick with a loop on the end.
yeah, we can
And
catch poles.
So you
too.
have a cage in the back of the car and,
We have cages here at the police department. You have to go back and get the cage, and then we have 2 catch poles, and that's how we transport them out there.
how hazardous is that to the police
Well,
officers?
Last week, one of the officers got bit, so it is often dangerous, but
So do you have it where the homeowner or the owner of the dog will assist you with that, so you won't get bit?
typically the owner of the dogs aren't around. And that's how we kind of got into this situation. They've run at large, they're off the chain, things like that. So, no, the dog owners aren't usually typically around.
Pat,
But if they
did
are,
you
then-
have a
Yeah.
question?
I had a call over the weekend that mom and daughter and dog were out walking, and big dog came up and bit the daughter, bit the dog, knocked the mom on the ground, and the dog wasn't taken to the vet center. It was left in custody of the owner of the dog for 10 days.
Yeah, so that one came to me on, I'm thinking Thursday, Friday. And it was taken back out to the vet center for the holiday weekend, but then it was released. So I'll have to look at that. It's supposed to be 10 days, and that's it.
Right. I mean, I get so many complaints lately about people and their dogs they're letting them just run all over town or off the leash in their yard, and
And that one is one of them. I have 2 dog bites from last week. So that is one of them that will come to the council eventually. But they've been issued the letter, notified that it's vicious. And it came from another community. I wish there was some other way we could figure that out other than when it had been involved in a dog bite in another community but was brought here. So if we had known that, we would not have allowed that dog into our community.
Right.
But
and I guess to me, when they say, well, we're gonna take our dog to a different community, that's where I'd want the thing chipped, if we can fit that in the ordinance somehow, because in 6 months, when they see that dog running around town, well, that's the dog's brother or cousin or uncle, and it's the same dog as well as I do. I'd like to be able to test that.
when we order them vicious, we get the name, address, location where they're going, and we do communicate with that community it's going to. But again, yeah. And I try to get vet records. We take pictures of the dogs now.
Mhm.
Until we have chipping, then that's the
Sure.
best we can do at this point.
And I guess to keep us informed, I get why we don't want to have a lineup of people arguing about their dogs in front of the city council. But then again, it clues us into that we've got a problem with dogs in this town. So I can see both angles of the new ordinance. It's more swift action on your end of it, where you can just take care of it, rather than dragging it out for 2 weeks and hitting the next council meeting and, this or that. But I still like to have the people here that have their dog. I like to hear both sides, but it's gonna be dealt with more swiftly here, I believe.
Yeah, and the people we're talking about, the ones that are going to appeal it are going to come here.
Right.
The ones that aren't going to appeal it, we've seen that last week. They've
Mhm.
said that they're not coming, they don't want to be here, they don't want to take part of it, they don't want to argue with the other person. Those are the ones that it would be easier just to take quicker and faster action on.
Another question I had is, who's responsible for the hospital bill?
Well, they are,
They
if
mean,
they pay. The homeowner, it's written in the notice, if they go to pick up the dog, they are charged before they are released. They also have to pay to have it, if it doesn't have rabies and it's vaccinations, they have to pay to get those before the dog is released.
Good.
But what happens a lot of time is they don't want to pay the vet bill, they don't want to pay the rabies, they leave the dog. And so then that creates the long stays at the vet center
and the bill for us.
and the bill for us.
I have a couple of questions, and you might think I'm stupid, but I don't know. If you're called to something like that and the dog is not registered, or you learn that the dog is not immunized, is there a fine to that dog owner?
Yes, there's a dog at large. Typically, it's dog at large, no rabies. Both of those are be able to be fined for,
Okay.
and often do,
Unlicensed.
unlicensed.
Okay, other questions, comments? I think what I like about the change is that we wouldn't have, like what we had at a meeting where the hearing's scheduled and then there's no intention to show up and they don't show up, so it's just really wasting time.
And
But
even
again, they have the right to appeal, that then they can get on the agenda and have their hearing.
in the TULIP from last week, for example, one bid an officer, it already has had 2 warning letters sent to it. I have no intention of coming here, I don't believe, and same with the one that knocked one down and bit a dog and bit a person, so. Those
Right.
will be faster, but
You know, to Pat's question of, like, he likes to know when there's an incident. I mean, you could report that.
yeah,
You
I could do that on Thursday meetings
Yeah.
if there's.
What dog got 2 warnings where we didn't just?
They were both minor incidents, so, and one was in our ordinance basically says within a year.
Okay.
And one was in 22, one was in 23, but I figure in 24, we've had enough. Because they've already had 2, this time it bit an officer, so.
And how's our electric fence going on down there? Do they still have those dogs? I was gonna ask her next time I was uptown and saw her if she still had those dogs where we allowed her to build the electric fence.
Oh, yeah, she still has the dogs.
Okay. Wonder if they're current.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to find out.
All right, anything else? Ron, do you need anything else from the council or
Well, if
from
you're
Mark?
okay with the concept of this revision, I need to run this by the city attorney. We've made enough changes to this where the attorney needs to give the stamp of approval or suggest any
So on
tweaks.
that one, I see that, on that wording, do you use another template for that, for like destroy? Because can you use like euthanization or whatever?
Yeah, destroyed in a humane manner
Oh,
is
okay.
what, yeah. Yeah, I can
Can you
add
take
that.
destroyed out?
Yeah.
Or put down, or something
That's
that's,
an
Yeah.
old term. that
something
we've
that's
always-
not so vicious.
Euthanization, yeah.
No, they don't put them to sleep, they kill them.
I'll see
It's
what
kind of
we
an
can-
outdated term. We've
Yeah.
always used that, even with deer. We've
Yep.
destroyed the deer, dispatched the deer.
Yeah, we'll see what we
Okay.
come up with.
Okay, well, it looks like we're done with that, and we would, let's see, I think we just have one other item on the agenda, and that's to adjourn, and so I'll just go ahead and we'll adjourn. Thank you very much. The address?